Let's take a simple example. In this example, let's say I have a stock or resource. You can even call this as a resource. You have a stock or resources. Say I have got 7 resources, 3, 4, 5, 6. So which means I've got 7 resources, right? Say the demand is that like 1 resource per day. Like so, the demand is 1 resource per day. So which means that I can sell 1 resource per day. So which means that I have even though I have a 7 stocks, but I can sell only 1 per day. So which means that this is a 0th day, which means the initial day, right? So initial stage. Then that so I can understand much better, right? So on day one, right? Say day 1, day 2, and have something like this 15 days, right? So different day, what is the actual condition, right? Say on the first day, I'll sell one of its resource, so this will become 6, right? So I can put it like this: 6 will become 6, and day 2 it will become 5, and day 3 it will become 4, and day 4 it will become just 3, and day 5 it will become 2, and the 6th day it will become just 1. On the 7th day it will become 0, right? So this is how the pattern is, right? Say if you are a shopkeeper, if you have a 7 items and you see the demand is 1 resource per day, if you replenish this, then probably you'll be ordering the 7 stocks, right? So the 7 stocks comes in the 7th day, right? So which means that you'll be replenishing the order, and we know that 1 stock will be removed per day, so which means that we'll get 7 and 1 gets sold, and then the cycle continues. The next day it will be like this: 1 gets sold like this, and the 1 gets sold like this, and 1 gets sold, and something like that. So this is typically the inventory, right? So in this example, this particular length, say the 0th day to 6th day, or day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, and day 7. So 7 days in a week. So this week 1 is the cycle time. It gets repeated in the next week as well, right? Say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So it will replenish, it will gets replenished. And finally, so the pattern repeats, right? Say on the 7th, right? So a week cycle. So this is what we call a week 1 cycle time, right? So this 1 cycle and this cycle. So this is as simple as that. Or I can even take the same pattern and see how it varies also, right? So this is typically the the inventory, right? Say maybe I'll change color to show you much better. Instead of having, I'll differentiate cycle 1 and cycle 2. So this is cycle 1. So this is the sold out and remaining. And similarly, in this case also can see both are same. I just wanted to show you, right? So as simple as that, right? So this particular thing, and finally here it will become 0. This particular stuff, right? See, this is typically the inventory management. So since it's a simple thing, we could able to show you graphically. But if you have a complex like multi resources or a probability of the demand, instead of deterministic demand, one gets. So what happens if one resource per day is not constant? Or another important thing is, like here the replacement is instantaneous, like there's no delay. What happens if replacement is delayed by 2 days? Like say the replacement, if it is delayed by 2 days, then this process starts here, right? Say all this like this. So which means this is the buffer time or something like lag time. So that also to be considered. In that case, business does not run, and you cannot able to sell that particular units or something like that. So that's one example. Let's do it here. Say this is, you see, it's instantaneous, something like that. Or even call this day 7, and you can probably take something like that, right? So in this case, it's completely gone, like this thing. Then we will be replenishing it like this again. Again, we replenish it, and it comes, and the cycle goes on and on, right? So for years time, right? So that's how inventory is all about, right? So all these things are basic concepts. So we will be doing those things with some numerical examples so that you can understand much better. So the core idea is this. So I have some product or resources. It gets replenished a certain period of time, and how far I'm gonna do it, as what our inventory. So what is the economic order we can take for this, and what is the cycle time, and what is the reorder time, like when can be reorder. Say for example, we know that here probably 4, right? So almost after this stage, 4th day, we know that it's going to get less than 50%. So what happens if we reorder something, like the reorder has come without any delay? Say we reorder 4 units, then it will be pretty easy. Like say for example, this particular shortages happens, and the business runs without any interruption, and the cycle time is also very less, like the full sale to the buffer sale or a reorder state. So when it is reorder, it is a new cycle, something like that. So those kind of decisions is what we call inventory management. It's basically you have some resources. Say in a simple example, I can tell you, if you have a 500 rupees, and if you want to go out, say if you go by the public transport, say it takes 40 rupees to reach the destination, and to return to your original origin, it will take another 40 rupees, say 80 rupees. But you don't spend 500, right? So complete 500, and you do exhaust 500 rupee, but you will keep some rupees, like 80 rupees as the stock for the transport. So those are called inventory. So those are very important. Say for example, you like a product, and you buy that product, and it costs 500, and your balance becomes 0. Then you look into the nearest ATM to withdraw some more additional money, right? So that's kind of a reorder, like the extra money you get it out of. Say for example, even if you don't have money in your account in the ATM card, you'll ask your friends or family to aid some money. So once they do it, you can receive the money through ATM. But the time gap between your request and their transfer money transfer is basically the buffer time. That is what we talked about, the reorder wait time or delay time, or it is also known as lag time. Right? So all these things have real meaning, and so as in production or in manufacturing, those things have got real meaning, right? So everything has got a real meaning. So lag time. Supposing I've just replenished before the entire stock gets over. So those times are called lead time. I'm leading ahead of the buffer getting, the stock getting over. So those things are called lead time. So I finish it ahead of time. Right. In a critical path method, we talked about the buffer time, or we also call as float time. All the float times or extra time available, which is the lead time. Whereas lag time, we generally don't get it in these critical path method or in a construction network diagram. The reason is that we don't generally wait for something, but you can even take this as also float, provided this is the float between uh, the for example, if an activity A has to be completed, and only activity B gets started, and the time in which if A gets over by 2 and B gets start only by fourth time, then the difference between the destination and the source is the wait time. So that's a lag time. So B lags by 2 duration, which is actually a float. So that's what basically lag time. Lag time is can be a delay or it will be a lead, which means, like, for example, if 2, generally it does not happen. Both are parallel activities. If, both are parallel activities. Both are parallel activities, and A can start at 2 and even B can start at 1 itself. Like, so the A cannot depends on B. So it's almost a but if you take a look at how far B starts before A is -1, which means that it start one duration ahead of A. So that's what basically it's a lead time. So that's a overall analogy, right? So we'll be talking about these things in much detail, but as of now, understand. So these are the important concepts pertaining to the inventory management, right? So let's get into the actual concept. Right. So any theory or any modeling has got its basic assumptions. Let's dive into that. Then we'll discuss about the models or something like that. Right. So inventory model. The first we can discuss is the classical analysis of inventory control. In fact, this was result of the industrial revolution. During those period, like the line production, line assembly, those flow in the job shop in a production unit is basically the classical inventory control, right? So these are the assumptions. Like the single demand is considered, like every day we talked about the same or unique demand. Say, for example, in our previous example also, we talked about 1 resources per day. We didn't talk about one day it'll be 1 resource, another day it'll be 2 resources, not like a haphazard or something like that. So that's what basically it means. Single demand is considered, and demand for the item is known exactly. As I told you, we know how much we sell per day, or the demand per day is already known. Without that, we cannot able to solve or perform an inventory control. The next is demand is continuous and constant, right? So demand should be throughout the start and end of the cycle time. Say one day it is not demanded, or there is an absence of demand or something that is not acceptable in terms of classical method or classical inventory control. Right? And cost is also known exactly. So we talked about resource, but resource can be of men, machinery, money, and space. Not many people realize that space is also a resource, but space is an important resource. Like holding in terms of inventory, where you stock your materials, where you replenish, or where you transport your material, the space is also considered to be a resource. right? So space can be of holding space or imaginary space like the road transport where you transport materials, or even air transport or something like that. So all those things are space. So those also resources, right? So men, material, money, and space. So all these things are resources, right? Then replenishment is instantaneous. As I told you, the item once it gets over, you should have at that point the replacement or the new lot coming in. So there's no delay in terms of replenishment. So that is what we call replenishment is instantaneous. So there's no delay or lag time or something like that, and no shortages are allowed. So this is very similar to this. So once we say there is a continuous demand, one day if you don't have any product at all, then that is gonna be a void in terms of assumption. So the shortages should not happen. Like even though I say it is one resources per day, but we just move continuously. We don't stop at one point and say we will get the material next day so that you can come back. Not like that. So it is no shortages. It runs like a fluid. Like the resources should runs like a fluid. It should be replenished instantaneously, and the cycle should continue without uninterruption. Right. So that's what basically it means. We can generally take it per year. Per year, what is the resources movability or movement, or in terms of saleability or something like that. So that's what basically the classical analysis of inventory control. So this is a very simple assumption. In the next class, we'll be looking into the other type of inventory method like probabilistic demand or something like that. But as of now, for this introductory module, we'll be focusing on the classical analysis of inventory control with the assumption. Some of the assumptions are valid and some are little, simpler, but it is, essential to, formulate the classical inventory control. Right. Let's take a look at this thing. So in this lecture, we'll be, looking into the formula that will be useful for calculating the inventory control. But however, want of time and for clarity, I'm skipping the derivations of these things, but instead I'm providing you the formula. If you want to know how you get these formulas, you can pretty well read it whenever you're free. So there are a lot of derivations. This is a classical method, so it has got a lot of derivations, and it will be trivial and time consuming, but I'll just explain you in this just formulas, and we'll discuss on the implications of these formulas and how they are much helpful in finding out the characteristics of inventory control, especially the classical inventory control. Right. Like say the order is placed for a quantity Q. So Q is the stock which we did in the simple example. So quantity Q, capital Q, which arrives instantly. Say there's no delay in that, right? So this is used at a constant rate D. So D is the demand. So the usage of the quantity of a product is D, constant rate, right? Something until no stock remains at cycle time T, right? So which means that it's a cycle time T when which it has a huge cycle time denotes full stock and the empty stock. So when you get a full stock and empty stock, that's particular cycle, right? And then at the empty stock, you'll replenish it at instantaneously. So that's how the inventory is all about, right? Right. So the amount entering the stock in the cycle, say the amount of stock at initial time is equals to amount leaving the stock in the cycle. So I'll just repeat amount entering the stock in the cycle. Say in our example, we talked about 7 stocks, right? So it gets replenished per day, right? Per day, 1 stock gets replenished. At the 7th day, all the stocks which we bought gets replenished. I mean, which gets consumed or sold. But then at that point, the seven new stocks comes in. So without any delay. At that point, the 7 new stocks comes in. So that's why it is amount entering the stock in the cycle is equals to amount leaving the stock in the cycle. So which means that we replenish one per day. So on the 7th day, we'll get back to the same cycle, right? So the formula is capital Q equals to D into T. So demand into the cycle time. So that's the total amount or the total quantity available. But this is not we are really interested in. We'll be looking into the economic order quantity. Right? This is the overall quantity, but we'll be looking into the economic order quantity, right? So before we get into that, let's talk about the cost. Once we talk about quantity, next we'll be talking about cost. So cost, there are four types of cost. One is called total unit cost, total cost of the entire lot, then total reorder cost, like what is the cost associated with reordering them, like you call them and you ask them to transport via road or by any means, that particular cost. So all those things are called reorder cost. Like what happens, uh, what is the cost incurred during reordering, right? Then total holding cost. Supposing if you in the previous example we talked about one resources per day, why not we sell two resources per day if the demand is there, so that your cycle is shortened and you get number of cycles, and the reorder is also pretty much increasing, right? That's one scenario. But what happens if you delay the selling, you hold the product for a quite a longer period, then the cost of holding that resources also comes into picture. It is not that you replenish faster, or use the you sell the items faster, so that replenish comes in, so that your reorder cost increases, or you gradually slow down your uh, selling, so that your holding cost is pretty higher, whereas the reorder cost is pretty small. Like your cycle gets increased, so the number of cycle also gets increased, and but the holding cost, the cost associated with amount, or the cost associated with the holding the materials gets increased. So that's what basically the holding cost, right? And total shortage cost, like say for example, the cost incurred due to shortages, which is the non-sales period or something like that. So that cost is also matter. Say for example, if you rent a shop and you calculate your demand, and you say that different days you get resources and you sell that, but unfortunately you are short for 2 days where you don't have any resources and your sales is affected, so your rental budget gets affected. So that's what basically it means by total shortage cost. So these are the different types of cost, four costs associated with the inventory. So total unit cost, total reorder cost, and total holding cost, and total shortage cost, right? So shortage cost we may not consider in the simple example. We will be discussing about shortage cost in the later part of this module, where we will be looking into the shortage time as well. Right. So the formula for the total unit cost, you can even represent it by TUC or any mathematical formula you can have. That particular mathematical symbols you can have to represent it. It's absolutely your choice, but I just represent it by TUC, total unit cost, which is the number of units ordered, which is capital Q, multiplied by unit cost of items, like UC. So which means that if you have 7 stock and one stock costs 10 rupee, and 7 stock is 7 into 10 rupee. So which means that unit cost of the item is 10 and total quantity is 7. So 7 into 10 is 70 rupees. So total unit cost is 70 rupees, or the total cost. You can even call this as a total cost instead of total unit cost, because it's the entire lot. Entire lot, what is the cost? Next is the total reorder cost. Total reorder cost is like what is the cost incurred for reorder. So it talks about number of reorder multiplied by reorder cost, right? So as I told you, when your cycle is little longer, your reorder is lesser. Say in a 1 year, if we have a 6 cycles, then the reorder is almost 5, right? So 5 or 6. But if the cycle is just 3, then it will be 4 times or something like that. 4 3s are 12. So probably which is higher, like something like that. So its cycle time depends on the the buffer from start to end. So I repeat, if you have 6, probably 6 months cycle, then it will be 2 cycle year. The reorder will be only once. But if you have cycle time of 3 months, then you have 4 cycles, which means it will have 3 reorders or 4 reorders. So the reorder cost might increase, something like that. But shorter the cycle time, shorter is the holding cost. The amount, the resources get stored is also shorter, something like that. So that is what we basically call total reorder cost, TRC, which is equals to number of reorders, which is NR multiplied by reorder cost. So as simple as that. That will be total reorder cost. Then total holding cost. So this is typically a different way of representing, which is the time held for storage, which is the cycle time T, multiplied by holding cost HC. And then we generally take the average stock level, which is Q divided by 2. Say at 50%, we need to replenish. Otherwise, the cost, we'll take a look at 50% stocks getting ideal in this shop. So that's what basically it is Q by 2. So average stock level. So that's why it is Q by 2. So total holding cost equals to Q by 2 multiplied by T into HC, right? Now we talked about total cost. Like this is the total unit cost. We talked about total cost or the overall cost. Overall cost equals to TC equals to this total unit cost Q into UC plus total reorder cost NR into RC, then total holding cost, which is nothing but HC into Q into T divided by 2, right? Since we don't have a shortage, so for this particular example, we will not consider shortage cost here. If shortage is considered, then we talk about shortage. But our assumption is we will not have shortage for this basic classical model, right? Then total cost per unit cycle, right? So total cost per cycle. So this is total cost per annum or something like that. Per cycle time T. It could be 3 months or 6 months, whatever. So that particular cycle time is given here. So that will be this TC divided by T or UC into Q plus NR into RC plus HC into Q into T divided by 2, the whole divided by T, and you can fraction them like UC by Q divided by T plus NR into RC divided by T, then HC into Q into T divided by 2. But for per cycle, the number of reorder is 1, right? So as I told you, this is overall reorder time, number of reorder. Say this could be 12 months or 1 year or 5 years, something like that. So then we look into the number of reorders. Per cycle, you can reorder only once. So that is why NR equals to 1. So 1 into RC will become RC. So that is how it is RC divided by T. So this is a typical example of total cost per unit cycle. Next is very, very important thing. It is called the economic order quantity. The economic order quantity equals to, it's actually resulted out of derivation. Just skipping those derivations. Maybe we might focus at the end of this module, right? So as of now, understand economic order quantity is Q naught. Remember, it is not Q. Q is the order, total order or total quantity, and economic order quantity is Q naught equals to square root of 2 into RC divided by D, which is the reorder cost into the demand divided by the holding cost. So when you put that in a root, you will find out the economic order quantity. Right. Then optimal cycle length. So as I told you, you can perform a cycle time of 3 months a cycle or a 6 months in a cycle, but there is something called optimal cycle time, which is that if you do by that, then you are profitable. Then your analogy gets profit or something like that. So that is what basically the optimal cycle length. So that particular length is considered to be optimal cycle length, right? So that is T naught. T is the cycle time. So T naught is the optimal cycle time, which is equals to square root of 2 into RC divided by HC into T. So the same concepts, but D comes to the denominator, and then we'll have this particular formula called optimal cycle time, right? Then minimum total cost. So we talked about total cost, but we need to find out minimum total cost. This is just like a minimization of the total cost. So when you don't care about the minimization, then you don't have to really look into when you reorder or something. You do your business as such. You don't even look into the economic order quantity. But when you take a look at the economic order quantity, you get some profit in terms of minimizing the total cost. So that is what called minimized total cost, which is the unit cost multiplied by the demand. So you can see that total cost not. So it is not total cost. It is total cost not, which is the minimum total cost. It is the unit cost multiplied by the demand plus this is UC into D. You can take this as a single element. Root of 2 into RC into HC into D. Say 2 into RC reorder cost into holding cost multiplied by demand, right? And generally, we will be replacing this term by a factor called VC naught, which is the variable cost. So the variable cost, which is the total cost, equals to unit cost multiplied by demand plus the varying cost or VC naught, which is nothing but root of 2 into RC into HC into T. So that's what basically is given. This term, entire term gets replaced by VC naught. And the formula is TC naught equals to UC multiplied by D plus VC naught. Fine. So far, I've given you the gist of idea. Let's take a simple problem today, and we'll apply these concepts, and you'll appreciate the implications of this. So this is an example. Say the demand of an item is constant at 30 units per month. Say I have a lot or a product. It is demanded 30 units per month. So in a general example, you talk about per day demand, and here it is per month demand. So per month it sells 30 units, right? And then unit cost is 50 rupees. So one unit cost 50 rupees, right? And the cost of processing order and arranging for delivery is 75 rupees. So which means this reorder cost, like the processing the order and arranging it delivery get done is rupees 75. It's overall it's 75, whereas this is per unit is 50, right? So understand the difference. It's the reorder cost, it's the unit cost, and this is the demand D, which is 30 units per month, right? And the holding cost is estimated to be 25 per unit per annum, right? So 1 year, if you stock a product, that cost around 25 rupees. So this is just a simple example. So this is the holding cost, right? So HC is 25 rupees per annum, right? What is the economic order quantity, corresponding cycle length and cost? Which means that we need to find economic order quantity, optimal cycle length or cycle time, and the minimum cost, right? So total minimum cost or minimum total cost, something like that. So that's the given problem. First, we'll list down what are the things gets asked in the question. First is the capital D, which is 30 units per month, right? So 30 units per month. I'll come back to this little later. Then unit cost is rupees 50, and RC, which is the reorder cost, which is 75. If we talk about holding cost, this is 25 per units per annum. So which means that per year it is 25. So which means that we have a differential, units or something like that. So this is per month, this is per annum, and this is not necessary. This is per reorder and per unit. So which means that you can either consider everything in terms of year, like per annum, or everything in terms of per month. So it's up to you. But since HC is given per annum, let's talk about per annum throughout. So which means that we have got 3 units get sold per month. So monthly it will be 30 units per month. In terms of yearly, it is 30 into 12. So for 1 year, it is 12 months. So 30 into 12 is 360 units per annum. So 1 year, the demand is 360, right? The first objective is to find out the economic order quantity. So what is the economic order quantity, or the quantity that we need to provide, or we need to have, so that our business gets minimum total cost, total cost of selling or something like that. It does not talks about profit, but it talks about the minimum total cost, something like that. We need to minimize the reorder cost, minimizing the holding cost, and so on. So that's the basic cost. We are not minimizing the unit cost, it cannot be done, but we can minimize the holding cost and reorder cost or something like that. So first we'll take a look at the economic order quantity. So the economic order quantity is equals to the formula Q naught equals to root 2 multiplied by reorder cost. Reorder cost is 75, and demand in terms of per annum is 360, divided by the holding cost, which is 25 per unit. So HC is 25. Say 2 into 75 multiplied by 360 divided by 25. It will yield approximately 46.48. And make sure that product cannot be in terms of a decimal. So we just take 47, 47 units or something like that. So this is a very interesting thing, right? So you can have 47 units, so 47 stocks, 47 quantity of these items, right? So that's basically that. And the optimum cycle level, cycle time, length of cycle time, which is T naught, which is equals to 2 into RC divided by HC into D. So 2 into 75 divided by 25, which is holding cost per annum, multiplied by total demand per annum, which is 360, which is approximately 0.13 per annum, right? So cycle time is 0.13 per annum. So multiply this by 12, we get monthly cycle. So our monthly cycle is 1.56 months or something like that, 2 months. So which means that for every 2 months, the order gets replenished. So that's our optimal cycle time. So which means that we'll get 6 to 12, no? 6 cycle time per year, something like that. And variable cost. Variable cost, the formula is root 2 multiplied by RC multiplied by HC multiplied by demand. Say 2 multiplied by 75 per annum. 75 is the reorder cost, not per annum. And 25 is the holding cost per annum. And 360 is the demand, throughout, the year per annum, equals to 1161.90, or roughly you can take the nearest decimal like 1162 per annum. So the variable cost is 1162. So the total minimum cost is unit cost multiplied by demand, which is 50 is the unit cost, multiplied by demand is 360 plus 1162. So which means that it is 162, right? So it's 19,162 per annum. So the total minimum cost of this particular problem is 19,162 per annum. So this is typical example in which we find out the economic order quantity, we find out the optimal cycle length, and the minimum cost, something like that. Say this is just a mathematical way. Let's take a look at in the graphical way as well. And this is the graphical view. Zoom it a little bit lesser, but say x-axis is the time in terms of month, You can even call this cycle time. Generally, it's a time duration in terms of month, right? Say I start with 0 to 1, 1 to 2, and so on till 12. 12 months a year, somewhere down. Right. Next, y-axis is the Q, quantity ordered. So this is the overall quantity order. In this case, we'll be looking into the economic order quantity. So the economic order quantity is 47 units, right? So we'll draw a line, dotted line, which represents that's the economic order quantity. If you order by that, then your business is profitable. As simple as that, right? So we have marked horizontal, which says that is an economic order quantity, which is Q naught. Next is we'll talk about optimum cycle length, OCL. Optimum cycle length, which is T naught, which we get it 2 months. So which means that every 2 months, you can even draw a grid line like this blue, but it will affect this particular thing. So I just avoided that. So every 2 months, you can see 0 to 1 is 1, 1 to 2 is 2. So every 2 months, the cycle gets repeated. So which means that you have a 47 units and it gets sold per day, something like how much ever units it gets sold per day. At that second day, the entire lot gets 0. The entire lot gets sold. At that day itself, will get the replenishment, which is the same 47, and the cycle gets completed. The cycle gets completed. It is per year, right? You can see that it has gone 0 to 1, 1 to 2 cycle 1, 2 to 4 is cycle 2, 4 to 6 is cycle 3, 6 to 8 is 4, 8 to 10 is 5, 10 to 12 is 6. So 6 cycles. We have got 6 different cycles, and we have got economic order quantity, which is the peak, which is the maximum you can take an order. If you do by this way, then you will get only a minimum total cost of 19,162, and that is per annum. So this is typically a inventory problem, right? So in exam, we'll expect you to calculate it by this and verify your answer. Whether, say for example, if this arrow gets cut here, or there is a haphazard in terms of this particular pattern, then you might conclude that you might have made some calculation error and redo it, so that it is the amount entering is equals to amount leaving, or amount entering is the amount leaving, or amount entering is equals to amount leaving. So as simple as that. So it's almost gets repeated in this pattern, right? So this is typically a simple classical method or classical analysis of inventory control, right? In the next class, we'll be looking into the reorder. Say we don't have to really reorder here, but instead somewhere here or somewhere here, where this particular peak will be from here rather than from here. So that particular decisions is called reorder level or reorder time. So we'll be looking into that in much detail, maybe in the next class, right?